Big news, everybody. Ellis, mate, Big Zaddy Jace Cakes has got new merch, and it's global. Hey, Canada, remember how you were like, man, I can't get T-shirts and boards? You can now. Hey, Australia, oh, g'day. Remember you were like, mate, where can I get a skateboard? You can. TheJasonEllis.com. New merch. El Rey Art did this stuff. I buy stuff off this guy, and then he made this design for me. It's sick. It's a cowboy wolf. And then I got me doing a horse wheel on a skateboard. Signed by me, Big Zaddy Jace Cakes. You can get it all now. Canada, Australia, America, all g'day. TheJasonEllis.com. Get them now. Black Rifle. Caffeine dips. There's no nicotine. It's just coffee. And you can be like, yeah, headbutt, cowboy. But it's just coffee. I'm going to get you fired up. Sometimes you got to get fired up when you don't feel fired up. Sometimes you're like, you know what? I am really sore and I'm tired. And I'm sick of all the bologna sandwiches in my life. And I wish that my hairless midget cat would shut up. But he doesn't. Because he too is like a miniature pasty David Goggins. He will not give up. You know? And that's it. But sometimes does it go too far? Do we go too far? Can you go too far? With being motivated and being hyped up, you know? Because sometimes I'm like, you know, the man tries to bring you down, you know? You got your relationships and you got your emotional roller coaster of triumphs and tribulations. And you got your cat that is ruining your show. Just stop, all right? I've got to talk. Like, sometimes your heart's not in it, you know? Sometimes you don't want to do this. Sometimes you just want to stop and, like, take a break, you know? Let's, like, think about how much money there is in vacations. People love vacations. Why do they love vacations? Because they love to stop doing stuff and forget about stuff. It's like you work really hard to save money so that you can go on a vacation and not think about your life. You know? It's like we all wish we could be on a permanent vacation. You know, the person that works every day and doesn't want to go on vacation because they love their job so much is the real winner. Because if you're lucky, your vacation is like 2 weeks of the year. If you're lucky, real lucky. But somebody who's like, man, this vacation sucks. I just want to go home because my life is so much more awesome than vacation. Or what about if you're a person that does a vacate? Jules! You got to get him! Hang on. You're fired, dude. You're fired. Get out. Get out. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Is there anybody else in this studio? Get out. Get out. Right now. Get out. Oh. Thank you. He knows. It's fake. act like you're a cat and you don't know what we're talking about. You know exactly what we're talking about, and I'm sick of it. Anyway, we all want to escape, you know? Vacation. You can't afford vacation. You smoke weed. You want to go on a vacation. You can't afford a vacation. You sleep with a large lady. It's a vacation. It's hard to get motivated, you know? Sometimes it's hard to get motivated. Sometimes, sometimes you're like, what about when you're content and you don't feel like being emotional? You know? Being emotional is exhausting. But you're gonna die. You are gonna die. It is gonna end. There was a time there where I had hair, and if you had said you're going bald one day, I'd be like, yeah, right. And now I'm bald. And there's nothing I can do about it. There's probably something I can do about it. I don't care enough. But did I have fun with my hair? Yeah. Did I have as much fun as humanly possible with my hair? I never had cornrows. But it was before my time. I would have. What if I looked back at a photo with that haircut and gone, you idiot? Yeah. But still, I did it and it was cool. What was it like? Well, I don't know. I never did it. That's why you've got to try everything. And I get it. A lot of you don't want to try everything because you're pretty sure if you try certain things, you won't like it. And you're probably right. What's it like to be trans? I don't know. I wore a dress a couple of times. But that's about as close as it got. I had some girls' panties. But I never wore it, like, seriously, It was like, ha, look at these. My balls on one side and things on the other side. Like, nothing fits. And it's like, ha. But I never, like, committed, I mean, I did one time dress like a fool lady in, like, one of my chicks. Was like kind of pretending to be a dude if you can understand what I'm saying. Wasn't for me. It was fun. I don't regret it. I'm glad I tried it. I did some BDSM. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be into that. Turns out, I was wrong. That was pretty good. Taught me stuff. Don't know if I need to do that ever again in my life, but I am happy that I did it because it taught me some stuff about women and about arousals and like being sensual, being rough, and mixing them and like, putting somebody through an emotional roller coaster of pleasure that I can still use today. So it was good. But even right now, it's hard to... I skated yesterday for like 3 hours. I drove for 6. I'm 54 in a month. I'm flat. I'm tired. It's hard to get up, And I drove yesterday down to the ramp. I don't have my car. I love my girlfriend. I don't like her car, because I'm spoiled. I got a car. I haven't had it for 4 months. And I saw a photo of it. It looks amazing. I can't wait, but I'm not getting it anytime soon. I don't like driving her car. But I drove 2.5 hours there in traffic. Maybe it was 3 hours because there was some traffic. I get there and, I'm already a bit sore, still sore from trying to do this drop-in thing where I like hit my hip a lot. And I didn't really think much about it. I was like, oh man, I'm sore. It's like my kidneys, my ribs are sore, Like my stomach hurts a little bit. And then I've got like this, my left knee, because I've got a cadaver knee replacement on my MCL. And I've got no meniscus. It's a bone-on-bone thing. And the doctor after the MRI said that there's no fixing it. They could clean it up, but it would make it worse. So there's really no fixing you. Like the next thing for you is a knee replacement, but you can't get a knee replacement at your age because you can only get one knee replacement at this time in the world. That's how that goes, I guess. There is stem cells, bioaccelerator, but I haven't, can I go there? Like, I don't have the money to get a plane ticket there right now. I got to pay bills, taxes, credit card debt, all this other stuff. But it's not that big of a deal. I can still move. I can still take it. I just wake up and it's like it hurts, but I can still take it. And it's like, and I got down there yesterday. The person that works there, Galena, lovely lady, was like, man, you're here a lot lately. What's the deal? What are you doing? And I was like, I think I'm coming down here a lot because if I come down a lot, I'm a little bit safer at it and I'm a little bit better at it. But also because I think this is the end, and I don't know when the end is exactly, but I don't know how much longer this is going to go. The comedy thing is getting bigger. I'm going to be on the road more often. And there's a certain way that I skate that ramp where it is getting dangerous. Like I am potentially back on the list for a bare knuckle fight again. And I've been really adding that up. And it's like, if I have a bare knuckle fight, I know a lot of people are like, that's crazy. I'm worried about you. People that actually care about me or would be worried about me. But what they don't realize is what I did yesterday on the ramp for nobody. For a promo for New York, thejasonellis.com. If anybody wants to see my tour dates, I'll be on the East Coast. My body is in more pain from yesterday than a bare knuckle fight would be if I lost, which is not going to happen. But if it did, I'm in more pain now. And there was more, like I fell and landed on my hip and it like really hurt. And I felt blood leaking in my leg. Like I could feel like the bleeding and it made my leg feel heavy. And then I landed and it kind of tore my groin on the other side. I bruised my heel on my left side and I hit this knee that is still hurt. I'm sweaty. I'm like leaving a sweat mark down the ramp when I fall. And I could just go home. But I'm just not like that. I don't do that. I just keep going. Because I really wanted to make this trick. And I don't skate enough to be trying to make this trick. And my body is... I should be taking better care of it when it comes to like, if it's that hurt, you should stop. But I really wanted to make it. So I kept going. And to the point where I have like a boob on the side of my leg right now. Like it's just a swollen thing and the bruising hasn't come out yet, but like my whole ass, one side is like, it hurts to sit on, to touch it. Like the whole thing's tenderized. I tenderized my butt in a way that is like, it's been a long time since I've been that sore, like just sitting is like a lot of pain. And then, I took all my pads off and I could barely kind of get my sock off my leg because I could barely bring my knee to my chest. And I'm like, that might have something to do with you not being able to grab your board. You can't bend your leg anymore. And it's like, I can't. At one point I was on the deck and I'm getting angry because I can't make it, and I'm like, calm down, because I know that being angry, there's a thing where you can get angry and it can conquer the fear. And you can if you're tired and you're sore, if you get angry, you can push through it. You can fight it, you know? It's like this David Goggins approach, if there's such a thing, or how I look at it. There's similarities. There's things that he does that make sense, you know? It's the thing. A lot of us take little pieces in social media. A lot of us do things on social media where we're saying we're doing something, and then when the phone's off and you're not posting anymore, you're not really doing it, you know? And I've done it too. Everybody's done it. I'm not like, I'm better than you. I'm not saying that. Everybody's guilty. I think sometimes David Goggins like jerks off and eats ice cream. I swear. I don't know. I'm trying to like get in touch with it right now, but it's really hard. But it's like you lose things in life, you know? This is life. When you get older, you know, when you're younger and you're coming up, you meet people and you find new relationships. And when you get older, you lose relationships and your friends die. And when they die, they remind you that you too will die. You know, dingo is on my head. When I pray every day, I get in a 3-point stance and I tap that. Because I think of my friend and like what he would want if he could see me. And I believe he can see me. But when I'm on this ramp and I'm tired and I'm sweating everywhere and I'm, you know, even Andy McDonald, who's almost as old as me, but he skates there every day. You know how far away he lives from that ramp? Like 5 minutes. I drove 6 hours yesterday to skate. And I don't skate that often, and it's way more dangerous because of that. And I prayed to God on the ramp. I looked up at the roof and was like, God, you know, I know you can't make me do this trick, you know? I'm not going to pray to God to help me make a cab melon. I understand that's a ludicrous ask, you know? But I'm asking you to give me the drive to keep going. No matter what the outcome, you know? The rest is up to me. And, you know, the outcome is in your hands. You know, and if it doesn't work out, there'll be a lesson in it. You know, and if I can't find the lesson in it, that's my fault. Because there's a lesson in everything, especially your failure. So, figure out a way to suck it up, get motivated. That was the other thing. My body was starting to give up. Like, I was starting to get wobbly legs. There was many signs where I was like, dude, stop. But I was like, if I could just get the energy to like have stable legs for like, man, we're talking like 7 seconds, you know, because I was setting up and then trying it. I'm like, it's like 10 seconds. I couldn't get it. And then until I was completely done, like sweated out 3 t-shirts. I'm now to the point where I'm like, I can't keep bailing because every time I bail, I'm leaving a giant sweat stain on the ramp that somebody could slip out on and get hurt. I'm making it dangerous for everybody else. It's gone too far. And I'm asking myself, what are you doing this for? You know? Like, you're killing yourself. You keep going. You might need a hip replacement. I'm gonna need a hip replacement. If I kept going, if I go back there today and then the next day, I would probably need a hip replacement by Saturday. I gotta calm down. So there's like this line where it's like you go so far, you know, like motivated. You know, I'm like, oh, you know, he's skating at 53. It's like, you know, inspirational. And I'm like, inspirational into a wheelchair. You know, like David Goggins, I saw something. David Goggins has been out for a little bit, and then he ran, and it's like he's not even supposed to run. The doctor says he's got no knees. He's bone on bone. And then he ran some marathon. And he's like, you guys don't talk about how you don't see me. You're on TV, you watch TV, eat snacks. I'm out here in the night, running by myself, and I got no knees, but you ain't stopping me, and I'm gonna keep going. You got no knees. And then other people, because social media, because you're so weak on social media. You really are. Look at the way you're running. You're not even running fast. Oh, my God. You're talking smack on a guy that has outran. He has the championships to prove that he can outrun all of you. And you're going to dribble on social media and you can't run down your own driveway? Do you know how pathetic you are? Do you know how sad you are? Do you know that's why we know the winners of the world? We know. That's why we don't retort, because we know you're a loser. Because you're angry at me winning. Winners know that. You know why they know? Because they've lost. And they kept going. And when you keep going, you don't have time to talk smack on somebody for trying to achieve. People try and talk smack on the Sandro Diaz guy, this Red Bull guy, dropping down that building. Oh, he's not even doing a trick. Shut up. It's 400 feet high. Shut up, you moron. Moron. You wouldn't last 2 seconds in that dude's boots. Pussy ass bitch. But you will type it. Because you don't know how obvious it is for us to read it and go, pussy ass bitch. Psst. Nothing to me. My shoes would scare the shit out of you. You got to get pumped. You got to push it. But how far do you go? Because like David Goggins, he is not running well for David Goggins. But then, I saw Joe Rogan, I don't listen, but I'll admit it. I saw the snippet on the social medias, and it's like he runs marathons where there's usually a team, and instead of a team, he does it by himself, and he runs through the night. Like, you don't know what that's like. I don't know what that's like. I've run before, and I know that I don't want to do that. I know I can't. I'll give up. I'll be like, ow. I'm not that tough. But there are certain things that I care about enough where I'm like, I should stop, but I'm not going to stop because I love it that much. And if I make it, yeah. And I'm not making it for you. I know it. I know that if I had done this trick yesterday and I put it in the video that promotes that I'm going to be in New York in a week or two from now, that none of you would have understood that trick being on the end of the video. It wouldn't have made any more likes. It wouldn't have sold any more tickets. It doesn't help me one iota to make that trick. But I wanted to do it for me. And it pissed me off that I couldn't do it because usually I can. And I was like, you know what? It's on. I'm going to keep going and at all costs. Even if I have 3 asses and I can't sit down and I can't sleep on one side, which is what's happening right now. But how long does it go? Like David Goggins, like right now, David Goggins is pretty much the same age as me. I think I'm 3 years older than him. But David Goggins has done I believe that I've hit my knees a lot more than him, but I think the way he runs, I think when you do those kinds of running things, I think his knees are worse than mine. And just judging by the way he runs, it looks like they're really bad. And I don't know for sure. I never saw the MRI. I don't know if Joe Rogan knows. I don't know if some guy that runs with David Goggins knows. But I would assume that they're pretty bad. And when it gets to bone on bone, because a lot of us are out there with that, you get a knee replacement. You can't get a second one. You get one. So if you get a knee replacement, you're supposed to baby it a little bit because the next time they give out, you are in a wheelchair. And I'm like, how far do you go? Like, will David Goggins keep running until he has no legs? Will David Goggins end up running on his knuckles like some sort of like human R2D2 where he's like, beep, bloop, beep, bloop, you're not hard enough. You mean, like, like where he's just like on some, he's got wheels on his knuckles or whatever, and he's like climbing up hills, and he's just like a leg, like stump man that just keeps dragging his torso down and up and down mountains until his arms don't work. And then he's just in the music video one where he's like, Doctor, and President me, and and he can't move at all. How far does it go, Because I've always thought, you just keep pushing. You can just keep going. Your mind can make your body do things that you didn't think were possible. But I think there's a, there's a sensibility where you're like, okay, I'm going to keep going, but maybe take some time off and heal the injury, and then gradually get back into it and do it in a safer manner so that you don't end up in a wheelchair or dead. I've never really thought that deeply into it because it's always sort of, I've been addicted to drugs and alcohol my whole life, man. This is another reason where this prayer thing has come in where, God has saved me. That is the end of it. You're talking to a guy. I don't know. I've never seen a documentary. I've never seen a movie. I've never seen anybody. Someone told me a story where this guy was a sex addict and he did this, this, and this, and he couldn't stop doing it. And where I've gone, wow, that's crazy. I am the worst one I know. And that's not a brag. That's embarrassing to admit. The only difference between me and Charlie Sheen is I don't have AIDS or millions of dollars. But the way his life was going, I mean, some of the people he slept with were some of the people I slept with, which again, whew, close one. But I could not stop it. And I tried. And then it got to the point where I was like, you need to just admit defeat and just get everybody else out of here so that you can live that life. And then I just really tried to work on myself to be a better person for my children. And I started to pray, not even for me, man. I prayed for me to be better for my children. I prayed for me to be better so that I could sincerely apologize to the people that I loved in my life. And it was indeed was sincere. Because if it's a lie, then you're just going to keep doing things to yourself because you hate yourself. And then something happened where God stopped the nagging pressure to keep wanting to do this, like, I mean, I know why they say miracle, man, because it's a miracle, like if you're out there, man, and you got, some addictive personality where you've, drugs, alcohol, sex, or whatever it is, if there's any similarities to my story, and I know I've people that have asked me like, hey man, like, do I go to meetings? And I'm like, yeah, man. They're like, yeah, but I don't like the religious thing. And I'm like, look, as a guy, like I've been anti-religion my whole life. I'm for religion. I don't think when somebody's like, if you're not on our team, then you're not allowed to be on the team. That doesn't add up to me. Like I never read the Bible. Maybe I will soon, honestly, because I'm starting to kind of back this Jesus guy. But there, it doesn't have to be him. It can be her. It can be whatever. Well, sorry, I wasn't trying to trans anybody. I'm just saying. But it's more about just accepting people and doing the best, being honest with yourself and making an effort and like praying to a higher power where they release your guilt. Because it's just like I've been forgiven. I forgave myself and I don't have this nagging thing where I want to sleep with people. I would say sex addiction is my worst addiction. And I love weed more than anybody I know. I loved all that stuff. But the sex addiction thing is the biggest one to me. You know, because you can smoke weed around me and that's fine. You can drink around me, that's fine. If you want to do a bump around me, that's crazy. But also, if anything, I'm like worried about you. I'm not worried about me. But if people talk about sex a lot in a way where they romanticize it, I can't do it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be around it. But I think I finally thought about it yesterday when I was driving 3 hours and my butt was killing me, that I was like, maybe David Goggins is a moron. like maybe, you know, there's going too far. And I also don't even believe it, you know? Yeah. It's like just bragging about it all the time, always bringing it up all the time. I don't know if I believe him anymore. And if it is true, I don't know if he's right. I feel like there's like, you know, like, you know, I know there's like this thing about him being a deadbeat dad or whatever. I don't know that for sure. I don't know anything about his daughter or him, so I don't know. Nor do I care. It's not my problem. It's more about, I run no matter what. And I'm like, well, maybe you should stop. You know, maybe you should swim or row and give your legs a break. You know? Maybe you should try to reach out to your family and see what they're up to. Maybe go to lunch or something. You know? It just seems like you can take a piece of it and you can add that to your life. You know, like I don't want to get up in the morning, but I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to the gym before I go to work, and that's going to make me think better, be happier through the day. Yeah. You know, but if it's like, I'm going to run until my legs don't work anymore, and then I'm going to be in a wheelchair. What happened? How far did you get? Wait, take a shot of booze every time Jace says David Goggins. Oh, you guys messed up now. I got my glasses on. I can read the chat. See, you don't know what I'm talking about. You think that it's like, you think it's a puke thing about Dave. I don't like him. I was just saying, I can't believe these glasses just did that.
I think the puke is if you had that many shots, you would puke because of how many times. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, but I know, but you're saying I'm saying it too much. I'm saying it for a reason. He's the symbol of everybody on social media that says you keep going and you don't give up. I'm saying they're full of shit. And they're dumb. Moderation is what I'm telling you, as a guy that I did 2 more hours than I should have yesterday, and I'm paying for it. And I feel stupid. If I make a cab melon, do my kids love me more? Because if that's the case, then yeah. But if it's not the case, nah, mate. Go home. Hey, everybody. Jason Ellis here for Jason Ellis Show 2.0. Talking about Hims, because Hims helps out men's health. We're talking about hair. We're talking about boners. We're talking about weight loss. We're talking about just general health. For ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/Ellis. That's hims.com/Ellis for your free online visit. hims.com/Ellis. Hims offers access to ED treatment options ranging from hard mints to trusted generics that cost 95% less than brand names. Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products include compound drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information. I've still got a long way to go, man. Because my kids don't see me all the time. I know they're busy, they're teenagers, and they're living their lives. But they don't want to see me all the time, They're not in a hurry to come over to Dad's house. Why? Why do they live with their mother? She's better at it than me. And that's the most important thing that I can do in my life. And my ex-wife is better at it than me. Instead of spending an extra couple hours trying to make a cab melon, I could have used my girlfriend's car to stand out the front of my ex-wife's house until my son came home from hanging out with his friends and just talk to him for 10 seconds. And then he goes in, whatever. But I was trying to do this trick, and I'm trying to do stand-up comedy, and I'm trying to do things, Maybe I'm answering it as I'm thinking it. And I'm not saying David Goggins, do a shot, I hope you puke, is a bad dad. But he does run an awful lot where instead of running up that hill, he could be running over to his daughter's house asking for forgiveness, or I don't, look, maybe his ex-wife has driven some untrue stories into her head, and she's got it all. She hasn't got it figured out, but I don't know. I'm just telling you my side of things, where I could admit to you that I could be a better father. Look, I'm not. My kids love me. Their grandparents think I'm doing great. Everybody's proud of me, but I'm admitting right now, like I should just be parked out the front. I asked my ex-wife the other day if I could be involved in some family interactions. If you ever have a family thing, could I come over? And she said yes. But this is the clarity that I'm getting with my sobriety. So much later than it should have been. I should have said this years ago. But I didn't want to go over there, I don't want to go hang out with my ex-wife's husband. Why? Why? Who cares what you think, and I mean me, about the dynamic of whose house, or like, that's your kids. If they are cool with you being over there, and you ask both the adults in the house, are they okay? And they are both reasonable people. And I asked her the other day, and she said yes. So that means I could have asked earlier, but obviously, the dynamic with my ex and the things that were happening in our lives, they probably wouldn't have been okay with us being there. And that, again, is my fault. It's hard to admit that I could be a better parent, This is this ego, like the damage of the childhood, where I'm trying to make people love me that don't know me. I'm out here trying to jump stuff. So you'll be like, "Ooh, that was special." Hey, everybody, I tell jokes. Can you believe he was a pro skateboarder, pro fighter, raced cars, book, band, all these things, and now he's a comedian. What about the radio show? Like, he's done so many special things. How special is he? A bunch of people that don't know me think I'm special. And they also, just like the people that hate me, think about it for a couple of minutes, and then they go back to their lives, because that's what we all do. We all think about ourselves. Well, what I could have been doing is, first of all, getting sober, taking care of myself, and trying to like this is ridiculous. I'm just being honest. You got divorced from your kid's mum. Why? Because I didn't like it. I didn't like what was happening. I didn't mean it. Or I didn't go out. You're late. This is not fun. You're not fun. Like, is there more to the story? Yeah. But could have I made that relationship work if I was like I am now? Probably. And who pays the price? My children pay the price. Whose fault is it? It's my fault. I could have been a better person. Obviously, I know from being in the program that like what I'm saying to myself right now is very evil. So I forgive myself for the mistakes because I have already understood that this is a thing that has happened. This is the main reason that the hardest thing for me to forgive in my life was me, because at the end of the day, this is my fault. These choices, these people, the most important people in my life, I have hurt them because of my addictions. But these addictions were, I didn't have the tools. I didn't do it on purpose. I just didn't have the tools, and I got myself into a life and lived a lifestyle that I regret. The only thing that is good about this lifestyle that I lived, that I've come out on the other side of, is that if you have any of these things that I have gone through, that I hopefully can talk to you and get you to understand that you too can get out of this and be free from it and be a better person. And part of being a better person and getting out of these addictive traits is to believe in God. You can give that any name you want, but just to make it easy for everybody, a higher power. And you pray to the higher power and you ask for forgiveness. I pray to God for forgiveness. I pray to God for success. I pray to God to help people and make the world a better place. I pray to God. I say that 100 times a day. But yeah, David Goggins is a retard. All right. Tour dates, everybody. Make sure you check it out. thejasonellis.com. I'm going to be in New York, and I'm going to be in Atlantic City, and I'm going to be in Syracuse? No. Connecticut. And then I'm going to be in Santiago, which is a vag. And then I'm going to be at the Comedy Store. And let me just tell you, people, if you live in LA or anywhere near LA and you don't go to the Comedy Store October 21st, go fuck yourself. All right? Because it's 80 seats. I need to sell 80 tickets. Comedy Store. 80 tickets. Can you do that? Yeah? 8 people with 10 friends. Is there anybody out there listening to me that has 10 friends? You know what? That's a lot, I just realized. I'm not very good at math. Let's do 16 people with 5 friends?
Yeah.
Did that work?
Yeah.
16 people, man. That's it. I can't go any further than that. I have to.
That's impressive.
I was like, there's no way that's right. I thought you were laughing because I was super off on that. But let's say I'm going to have 10 people there. So you're kind of out a little bit, you know? I reckon I can get 10 people, which is crazy. I could get 10. I don't have 10 friends. I don't have 10 good friends. Dingo would have showed up. He'll be there. That is why I will be so good at it, because I know he will be there watching me. Wait, somebody said, because I can read the chat, 20 people with 4 friends. Is that correct math?
That is correct math.
20 people with 4 friends. October 21st. The world famous Comedy Store. You know? All right. Make sure you like and subscribe. I don't know. And there's a Patreon. People that don't know, patreon.com/EllisMate is the old school Jason Ellis show where myself and Michael Tully and Zach. Yeah, that's right. Tully's still there. On the Patreon. Every week. 2 shows. And then I do Awesome World. And then I do this. So it's 4 shows. It's more than most of the people at Sirius. I didn't mean that in an aggressive way, but anyway. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Praise Jesus. Don't die.